Right, let's get more on a big night in the Champions League, particularly for Arsenal, who face PSV in the Netherlands tonight. Delighted to say we're joined by Dutch football journalist Arthur Renard now. Good to see you, Arthur. So let's talk about it then, because PSV have kind of seen their Eredivisie title slip away a little bit. So why have they struggled in recent weeks, do you think?
Yeah, there's like a lot of things going on, I would say, especially at the back.
Okay.
They've conceded much from set pieces, and also opponents are pressing them much higher on the field, which works well. They've conceded 16 times from set pieces this season, whereas it was 3 times last season. So that's really where Arsenal can hurt them, and obviously Arsenal is really good at that. So
yeah, I mean, if we look at the statistics in terms of Arsenal, I think they've scored the most in the league, from set pieces, and PSV, as you said, have conceded the most in the Eredivisie. Is that what could be the difference, do you think, tonight, or will it be something else?
Yeah, I think so, because obviously Arsenal is struggling as well a little bit, with their striker. It's as well. They're looking where the goals are coming from. So I think they will definitely put a lot of emphasis on to the players, to focus on set pieces. But also with the creativity of Arsenal, I think in attacking areas as well, if they put them, from the start, under a lot of pressure, that's where they can really hurt them.
In terms of what they'll get as well there, where Arsenal arrive at the club, I mean, we've seen a bit of a carnival atmosphere out there.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it's like in that stadium?
Yeah, especially now, it's crazy, those days, people partying and drinking. So there might be a really good atmosphere. Let's see if that will last for the whole match, but no, for sure.
It's a party, isn't it? Now, there is a manager, it's an assistant coach of Arteta, isn't it? Albert Stuivenberg?
Stuivenberg would say, but yes.
Okay, sorry, that's my accent. A terrible one at that. He's quite well respected in the Netherlands, yes?
Oh, absolutely, he was for many years at Feyenoord. He got with the Dutch national youth team, he got 2 European championships. Then he moved to Man United with Louis van Gaal, spent 2 years there, went 1 year in Belgium with Genk. And now, since Arteta took over at Arsenal, he's with him at Arsenal, and he's really well respected. Is key in designing training sessions, and just really respected by Arteta as well in what he brings tactically to the team.
And could he be part of the difference as well? Because he kind of knows his stuff,
absolutely.
Doesn't he?
Obviously, he was part of Feyenoord, and there was also a possibility of them drawing Feyenoord. That would have been even more of an advantage. But no, for sure, he knows the Dutch league and PSV really well. So that's another advantage Arsenal has there. Yeah.
They might want to make that work. Look, elsewhere in Dutch football, the former Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag, so he still has very fond memories, ten Hag, so his club, despite his dismissal.
Yeah.
Do you think he could return to the Premier League? Do you think it was a nice experience? Do you think it was
I would say overall, yes. Especially his first season, I think, went really well. The second season is obviously, I think, the moments, where things didn't really go well. But I think overall his experience for himself has been positive. And also, obviously 2 trophies. So I see there is a chance for him to return, but probably not at one of the top sides.
Okay.
And, I thought not for the foreseeable future, I would say.
Do you think the media, and I put ourselves in that bracket, were we quite tough on him, do you think? What did it feel like from the Netherlands kind of looking in? Yeah,
maybe sometimes, a little bit, but not too much, because obviously, especially his signings, most of them didn't maybe really work out in the way he hoped. So I guess, in the end of the day, not too much of, Dutch media thinking that the English media was too harsh. No.
Do you see him going back to any form of management? Maybe not here. But
yeah, you know what? I think Germany would suit him. He was at Bayern Munich in the second team when Pep Guardiola was there.
Yeah.
He did really well there, well respected as well. And I think his kind of style really suits Dutch, German teams. Recently, the Dortmund job was up. Obviously, that's taken now.
Yeah.
But that's something, like that. I can really see that happening.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether he does turn up somewhere. Look, Arne Slot, a manager that's doing really well at the moment. The treble's on. Favourites for the Premier League, Carabao Cup and the Champions League as well. Is there a sense of surprise, or did you sense this coming in the Netherlands from Arne Slot?
I would say a little bit, yes.
Okay.
We knew he was really good tactically, and the way he has done with AZ and Feyenoord is unbelievable. So in that way, people are not surprised. But when you go to the Premier League, you always have to deal with different kind of players, different pressure, media. Everything is bigger. So people were, I think, always wondering, okay, how he's going to cope with those kind of players. Second game of the season, when he took off Trent, there was a little bit of a kind of uneasy situation there.
Yeah.
And then people thought, well, this might be tricky. But the next game, I think Man United away, they had an embrace and a hug. And then you thought, well, he's managed this well. And from that moment on, you know, like I think he's got everything spot on.
Yeah, it does seem that he's come in with quite a seamless transition. I mean, he had big boots to fill in Jurgen Klopp's.
Now, that's incredible, you know, because, you know, when Van Gaal took over at Man United, obviously 1 year after Ferguson left, there's always that kind of, you know, like pressure when you kind of like succeed or close to succession of like a big name. And I think everyone in the world is surprised with how, yeah, kind of like smooth that has gone. You know, it's incredible.
He's got himself into some hot water, dare we say. You know, obviously the situation with the Merseyside derby, the FA have actually come out and sort of almost given us a transcript of what he is alleged to have said at the end of that match to the officials. Is that out of character for Arne Slot, do you feel?
Yeah, I guess in Holland we don't disclose, you know, what he says to referees. But in Holland also he had sometimes this kind of like arguments with referees. So it's not completely surprising. But I think he also got a few yellows before that sending off at Everton. So that's maybe perhaps the only point, you know, he still has to work on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we see it here. I mean, for us, I think from the outside looking in terms of a neutral looking at Arne Slot would have seen him very calm in press conferences, very calm in post-match discussions as well with the media. So this, for us, I think, was quite the eye-opener.
Yeah, no, I remember him saying in an interview with a Dutch magazine that he's such a perfectionist. So when things don't go, you know, like even with his own team, he can be angry. But then if he feels, well, an external factor is not helping us, or even maybe, yeah, you know, not against us, but obviously, you know, like this should have been different.
Yes.
I think he's really strong on that. And that's probably where he loses it a little bit, you know, in those moments.
OK, well, look, he did leave a bit of a legacy, didn't he, at the finals, as you mentioned. Robin van Persie has now stepped in, hasn't he? He drew his opening game. It was 0-0.
Yeah.
Do you think he can bring back success there?
Yeah, I think so. I think it might be a bit early for him. Obviously, last summer he started as a first-team coach at Heerenveen. Mixed results. He actually beat PSV, but also he lost 9-1 against AZ, which was a bit of a surprise. So he's really, like Guardiola, for instance, he's really a kind of like attacking-minded coach, which is great. But sometimes that might be a little bit as well if you play against, let's say, in the Champions League against really good teams. It might be sometimes good as well to sit back a little bit more. So those games against Inter, those weeks will be really interesting to see, how he will fare. I
mean, it's a club that obviously means a lot to him, isn't it? So does that bring a little bit more added pressure? We see it sometimes here that a player goes back to be manager and sometimes it doesn't work out.
I think, you know, he's so much kind of like a kid almost of the club. He feels so much at home. So my feeling is like it's just his own house. So I don't think there's too much pressure on that side. Also, they obviously know he only got, like 7 months of experience. So it's not like he's got already 10 years of experience.
No.
So it's not like he's got a Feyenoord knows they take it that way. And I don't think there's too much pressure on that side. But obviously he wants to show what he's capable of. And I think in terms of his footballing ideas, it's great.
OK. Spurs play AZ, aren't we? You mentioned them earlier, didn't you? They're beating Feyenoord, I think. They play them on Thursday in the Europa League. What sort of match would Spurs fans expect there then? Yeah,
I would say I expect a bit of a 50-50 one there. Because they played AZ earlier this season, 1-0. But that was, a different AZ side than they will play now. AZ beat Galatasaray, who actually beat Spurs earlier this season. And AZ has a lot of young talents. They have a lot of emerging talents. Their academy is one of the best in Holland. And some of their players, like Mark van Bommel, who's the son of former coach Ruben van Bommel, is the son of former coach Mark van Bommel. Peer Koopmeiners, the brother of Teun Koopmeiners. Max Meerdink, the son of Marta Meerdink. A lot of family members of former players or current players. So I think Spurs can be ready, can prepare themselves for a tough challenge.
All right, tough game.
Yeah.
You've been brilliant company. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot.
Do come back again.
Thanks.
All right, take care. Thank you. Meanwhile, Dillian White.